How's it going, guys? It is Ryan and welcome back to a brand new video, and today it is another round of our 2007 career mode at the Gilles Villeneuve circuit in Canada, driving as Ralf Schumacher's Toyota, where we're jumping straight into qualifying for our one lap shootout challenge, where if you are new to the series, guys, then we only allowed to do one flying lap with baseline setups now implemented from the last round at Monaco. So we'll see how we do there. We had a bit of a poor exit, so it's not off to a great start from us in terms of this qualifying session, but we're going to be going now into turn one and taking a bit of curb here, which will just give us a slight bit of oversteer for the next corner, but we get it absolutely spot on there. Going up towards the next couple of corners now to start the middle sector of the lap very shortly, braking just before 50 metres, taking a bit of curb there in and out of the corner, as it's completely flat through this right-hander into the start of the middle sector. It's a 21.3. It's not a bad first sector there from us in this Toyota, but the middle sector we are slowing from the practice that we've been doing for this race. The AI are quick round here in this part of the track, but it's the back straight then towards under the bridge, the right-left chicane. Very tricky corner this. The AI have got impressive traction out of this corner, so I've got to keep that in mind for the race, as we're going to be now coming towards the famous part of the track, the hairpin, where the spectators are all round and centre. We just go a bit wide there into entry, but we get the exit perfect there onto the long straight where the DRS would be implemented if this is the current regulations, but this is 2007 and even KERS or DRS doesn't even exist yet. So we're coming down the straight towards the final corner now. The Wall of Champions is awaiting us if we're going to hit it or not, and luckily we avoid it completely there just about, as we're going to come down the straight now to finish our lap, and it's going to be a 1:13.9, which got me in a very good mood, actually. I've got to say, it was a very impressive time there, but we will have to see if that will get us pole position for the Canadian Grand Prix, and the answer to that question is it did, by only 4 tenths of a second from Hamilton and Raikkonen. So very confident with that going into this race, that we can hold both the McLarens and the Ferraris on there as they complete the top 5, with Heidfeld, Kovalainen and Coulthard in the points positions for qualifying. So it's going to be very interesting to see, but the field is only 2.5 seconds, so they have improved the pace throughout the whole field. But it's now time for the race here for the Canadian Grand Prix, as we are now in gorgeous sunshine conditions. It's a very hot track as well, this one, as we are getting ready to start this Canadian Grand Prix. It's an 18-lap race. Obviously it's going to be one stop round here because the tyres are pretty good round here. I've got to say, the Bridgestones. It's most likely a one-stop race throughout the whole season anyway. As you can see there, we're going to be pitting on lap 6 and I've decided to up the ante a bit by using cautious fuel, which means the car is heavier on the start, so it will be tricky for us in the opening couple of laps. So just adds a bit more to the mix of the season on there, as we're going to be leaving the pits now to get onto the grid. So it's a Toyota on pole position ahead of Lewis Hamilton and Raikkonen, the two championship rivals behind us. We need to see if we can hold them off, as there's the spiker at the back of the row, as we are waiting for the lights to come on now. Charlie Wine waiting for the lights to pop on. There we are, as it is now the Canadian Grand Prix here in our career mode. The lights are out and away we go here in Montreal, and it's a great start from us there. We just bogged slightly down, but we managed to hold on to the lead of the race, as we're going to be braking into turn 1 perfectly there. And I think there's been a bit of contact from behind, because there's a bit of a gap emerging already on there. So Hamilton and Massa have been squabbling over, and even Raikkonen's dropped down to 4th place. So not a good start for the championship leader of Kimi Raikkonen, which will help us a lot, and Hamilton's cause to fight back with Raikkonen's lead he's got already, especially with Hamilton retiring in the last race as well. We're hoping to go 2 wins on the bounce, which would be fantastic in terms of our career mode on our championship contentions here. But Hamilton's coming back at us in this middle sector. As I mentioned in qualifying, the AI are OP in this sector. They get some amazing traction. Already Hamilton is on the back of us as we break into the hairpin for the first time, and Hamilton all over the back of us there, just giving us a bit of a sniff. You can just see him in the mirrors there as well on the right hand side, just faintly if the hood was in the way, but he's a 10.5 behind us there, as you can just see looking back. And Massa's joined the party as well, along with Raikkonen, and I believe Alonso's at the back of the train as well. So very interesting start this is to the Canadian Grand Prix. We just go very late into the braking zone, which will hinder us completely, as Hamilton now has got a beautiful run. This is going to be now side by side with us going into turn 1 as we start lap 2, but Hamilton has to back out of it, as I don't know why actually, he had the inside line, so he could have committed to the move with a late lunge, but the AI in terms of overtaking on this game isn't really that great, so I was lucky to avoid losing the lead of the race here. But we're on to lap 3 now, As you can see, just being very cautious here. I was going to try and maybe extend the run if possible, but with the weather staying as it is, I don't think we will need to be doing that. We're going to be just pushing as hard as possible on these option Bridgestone tyres. As you can see, we're starting to put a gap now on Hamilton to 0.6 of a second, with Massa a half a second behind Hamilton. So the top 5, as you can see, covered by about, I'm going to say, around about 2.5 seconds completing the top 5. So it's very close between us all, as we're going to be starting lap 4 now of this race. And it's a beautiful exit from us here, which gives us a little bit of an advantage on there. And there's 2 battles going on with Hamilton and Massa one, and Raikkonen and Alonso the other. So very close actually between these, the battle between the McLarens and the Ferraris, which is good for us. As you can see, the gap is now up to 1.3 seconds completely. So it's a great start from us here in this stint as the race goes on here. Onto lap 5, the gap's got even bigger now, slightly, but not as much. The gap is 1.3 as Fisichella now sets the fastest lap of 1:15.1, which is quite surprising. He's in a Renault, but we are all squabbling here. As you can see, the top 4 now, as Alonso actually got ahead of Massa, who I believe had an incident with Alonso. So it's actually now Alonso ahead of Raikkonen. So now from a 5-horse race, it's now a 4-horse race in this one. As we're going to do now, coming into the hairpin now, up 0.4 of a second, but Hamilton's coming back at us now. Half a second the gap, with Alonso 0.6 back, who has been going quick in this stint already. So he's doing very well. He could maybe challenge us for the win here, as he's right on the back of his teammate, down the back straight towards the final corner we go. Going to be just braking before the 100 metre board, hitting the curb beautifully there, but we hit the wall of champions ever so slightly, but we get no damage from that, as Hamilton has a lovely exit and is nearly at the back of us already, but we just chop him off slightly going into turn 1, but we have to see how that goes. And the gap is only 4/100ths of a second crossing the line, as Alonso sets the fastest lap of 14.2, dominating his pace. But we're going to be going to the next lap, where we all make our pit stop, and the rest of the pack, as you can see, Hamilton, Alonso and Raikkonen all staying out on there. There's actually Massa actually, so I got that wrong completely on there, as we're going to be going into our pit stop. Remember, this is the realistic one, so if you're wondering why these guys are doing a 7-second pit stop, is because the modders actually made the pit stops longer to make it realistic from the 2007 season. I've got to give them props for that. And anyway, guys, just forgot to mention as well, the mod is in the description below, so feel free to have a look at that. And it's a great mod, I've got to say. It's a brilliant mod on there. So we come out just ahead of Jenson Button in 14, so that's a massive thing to come out of. And Jarno Trulli, our teammate ahead of us here, who is on the option tyres still. But we're on to lap 8, where most of the field pitted, and I believe the last few will be making their pit stops this time by. So we're going to see if our early pit stop has worked out a treat from us here. We're about to find out as we hit the wall and the wall of champions, which will head at exit speed. But Hamilton there just coming across the line there, so we will take the lead of the race. But we have got this pit entry exit where they come out at turn 2. And as you can see, we're comfortably ahead of the pack. And as you can see, Hamilton there just coming out of that corner. So the field stays the same, apart from Raikkonen jumped Alonso in the pit stop phases. So Raikkonen moves at the 3rd. So it is back to normal with the top 3 from the qualifying session that we had, with the gap now being 2.6 on lap 12. So we have pulled a bit of a tiny gap to Hamilton in front. So this is what we needed now. We needed to push now, as Raikkonen is on the over the back of Hamilton. So if they start to battle, then we can pull an advantage on them and create a decent enough gap to hold on and win our 2nd race in a row in this series, which will be fantastic and put us back in that championship hunt, as Raikkonen now is 4/10 behind Hamilton, with a gap now between us and him 2.5 seconds. So the pace has been very good, I've got to say. I was very impressed with my pace actually in this last part of the race on the prime tyres, because in the past or in any Codemasters games, my pace on the primes is terrible. So I was actually quite happy with what I was doing here, getting constant 15s on there. As we go on to lap 14 now, as we've got someone in the pit lane who are going to be lapping for the first time, and it is actually a Ferrari, so that is a Felipe Massa, I believe. So I don't know what happened to him, but he was up there in the top 5, so I wonder what happened to him. But obviously we don't have the replay system that we do in 2015, sadly, to find that out. So we've got Massa behind us, so he could be a little strategy here for Raikkonen, who's actually got ahead of Hamilton there, as you can see, but the gap's 3 seconds. So if Massa gets ahead of us, there could be maybe some cheeky team orders going on at Ferrari to hold us up for Raikkonen to catch up. So we need to wait for that. And Hamilton, as you can see, they're 3.3 behind Raikkonen, so I don't know what happened to him on this during the second phase of the race there. So I don't know what happened, but Raikkonen's in a very comfortable position here to only lose 2 points in his championship lead. So got to think about that as we go along in this Canadian Grand Prix, because anything can happen. We don't know what will spice up this last few laps of the race there, as Raikkonen's actually gained 4 tenths on us here. So we need to see if we can hold it on as we go on to lap 16 now. And we've gone purple in the first sector, which will definitely help our cause on there, as Raikkonen now is 3.2 seconds behind, so we gained a little bit on him. And we're pulled away from Massa slightly as well, which is another good thing, so we don't get held up by him, by the Brazilian, if he did make the move on us here to unlap himself, because he has got every right to do so, to unlap himself. So we just need to see if we can hold on here, as we're going to be breaking to the hairpin now. And what's the gap now as we come to the last sector? It's back down to 3 seconds. So Raikkonen has the pace in that middle sector, so we need to maintain the gap in the first and the last sector. So we need to see what the gap will be when we cross the line this time round. As we come down the straight now, Massa still behind us there, as you can see, still with us. So maybe he's just waiting for that opportunist move to make his way back to unlapping himself. He's still got plenty of time, as we set now a 1:14.7 as our new fastest lap of the race, as Raikkonen's actually made a mistake on this lap, as it's now 3.6 seconds. But we're going to be going now onto the final lap, as Massa is all over the back of us now. And I was just thinking, should I be nice and let him through because it's the last lap, or hold him up? So we'll see if that's the case, as Raikkonen is right there on the map, as you can just see on the bottom of the track map there. So he is gaining it. It's now 2.6. So unless we hit the wall, we've got this in the bag, or we run out of fuel. But I don't think we're going to be running out of fuel, because the fuel light, as you can see, is not blinking at all. So I think we're going to be perfectly safe on fuel. Massa is right behind us now. Is he going to make a move to the last corner? The answer to that is no, but we don't need to forget about Massa anymore. We come out the final corner, and we're going to win our second race in a row in the series. The Canadian Grand Prix will be won by us, as it's a fantastic win there from us in this race, and we did very well to pull a perfect strategy call in pitting a lap early to get clear of any traffic in the pit lane on there. But the results then is Ralf Schumacher wins from Raikkonen by 3.5 seconds, with Alonso in third, with Kovalainen in fourth. Another impressive performance from him, with the 2 salvos of Heidfeld and Kubica in 5th and 6th, with Hamilton dropping down from 2nd to 7th, 2 points in the bag, with Coulthard getting the last points paying position in 8th, with Vettel, Webber, Rosberg and Liuzzi being the 4 retirements from this race. It was an absolutely stonker of a race that was in the opening part of the lap stint before the pit stops came. But we're going to now find out, after 6 rounds, who is now leading the championship and what the points gap is. Let's find out on there very shortly, as we're going to be going straight to the pit lane for Parc Ferme. As you can see, we're on the car again. The second time in a row we've won the race of the series, so it's fantastic to get that on the board, and very good to gain a couple of points on Raikkonen. It's not much, but it's a start, as we've got plenty of races to go to catch him up now. But now, let's see the current standings after Canada. So, Raikkonen now leads by only 14 points, with Ralf Schumacher winning here in Canada, with Hamilton now on 24 points, only 2 points ahead of Robert Kubica, who had an impressive performance today. The big charger is Heikki Kovalainen, is up to 5th place now with 21 points ahead of Fernando Alonso by a sole point. Massa is in 7th with 15 points. Nick Heidfeld moves up to 8th with 11 points, with Coulthard and Webber tied on 10 points in joint 9th place. But that is the end of this episode, guys, of the 2007 career mode. The next round is in America, not at Indy sadly, but it will be at COTA for a special episode for that, guys. Make sure you're ready to subscribe to the channel for more F1 content, and also like this video. If we hit 50 likes, guys, I will immediately upload round 7 for you guys onto the channel. But until next time, guys, have a great day wherever you're doing, and I shall see you very soon for another video on the channel. Until then, have a great day, guys, and see you later.